Here we go. Wake up. Yeah, fire car. Hurry the fuck up. Fuck. Welcome in to the E4 Mafia Underground podcast. This is a long time coming. I'm here with my boy Gideon here. Man, we've been talking about getting this podcast rolling for a couple years, maybe.
Yeah, man. I remember the conversations freaking in Colorado, bro. Like mid-COVID, we were talking. You started the podcast.
And I think that's I feel like that's kind of when podcasting started becoming popular. It was 21 was COVID, right? It was kind of during all that stuff. That's when it really started to hit the map.
100%.
Yeah,
And everybody's stuck at home and wanting to hear people.
Yeah, so guys. So first episode here, kind of the gist of this, man. We served together, me and Gideon here. I've known him since the very start. We both served or got in 2018, and it's just been a ride, dude. Like, I know you stayed in longer than I did, right? But it's just been a ride, and we kind of want to get on here, tell the stories, because all these podcasts, I'm huge into listening to podcasts, but all these podcasts that I listen to, they're all, special forces or, SEALs or, Marine recon, all these special forces dudes, right? And they're cool to hear about, but you can't, as a Joe, it's hard to relate to, right? And this is where I feel a lot of this market was kept out of, because there's not a lot of podcasts out there telling the average stories, right? Because I know I have a shit ton of funny stories. I know you have a ton of funny stories, right? And we have a ton of buddies that have all these stories. So I feel like we can tell it from kind of the Joe perspective, the E4 Mafia, if you will.
100%. And it's not like kind of, our goal with this is to really give like a raw, like unfiltered perspective of like how it is for the average Joe, you know what I mean? On the line, like the average day, we have like Hollywood and all these like big podcasters, talking about like crazy stuff. And like, I have the utmost respect to those guys. And like, they give me freedom hard-ons all the time. Pause. But like freaking, I feel like there's a gap to be filled and to be bridged here for like the average person. And like, not only in our age group, because there's veterans who, served in the 90s and they have like all these funny, relatable stories, because the military is a certain language and it's an old language. And I just, want to find those connections between those average soldiers with the average experiences.
Right. And I wouldn't even say average experiences, right? But, I would love to get some of our viewers, if you were in the military and you have a funny story to share, or, a mental health story to share, get on here, tell us a story, talk to people, just get those stories out there, because I think there's, like I said, there's just so much out there that hasn't been talked about, and I want to give everybody kind of that shot to get on here and express that. So that's kind of the podcast idea, why it was made. I kind of want to, first episode, get you guys to know us a little bit. Obviously Gideon here. So where were you born and raised, dude?
So yeah, man, I was born in Coshocton, Ohio. I was raised in Nelsonville. They call it the Rust Belt of Ohio, Appalachia Mountains. I grew up in what they called a holler, because when you hollered, it like echoed off the mountains, and
Oh my.
it's fire like that. So, yeah, fire is going on.
Are we
All
good
right,
now?
we're good.
All
Yeah, we're
right.
good. Okay. So yeah, basically it would echo like that. Grew up in a holler. Basically, you scream and it would bounce off everything. And so grew up poor, but my father, he was in the army for 16 years, and I've always um had his awards and everything, because he unfortunately passed before I was born. But like, he I always had this idea of him, and I've always felt like I had boots to fill.
Right.
And growing up poor and in this poor part of Ohio, youngest of 3 sisters and a single mother, um, you know, I didn't have like a male role model, but I thought of my dad. My dad was uh, he was a orphan, um, and he by the end of his life had this white house with pillars in the front of it. For the first 3 years of my life, like it was a Hallmark movie in terms of like possessions. Like we had a dishwasher before like dishwashers were like commonly sold. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
back
yeah,
in the day, and just stuff like that. But that was like the blueprint for me is I wanted to succeed like he did, and he did it through the military. So I've always like thought of him like of this, Yoda in the sky, like general, like and superhero Captain America thing,
for sure.
and
Yeah.
like so yeah, that's really from a boy I'll play with like sticks in the yard and run and play army and
Typical
stuff.
boy stuff, right?
Yeah,
Play military
100, yeah, 100%, dude.
for
And
sure.
the crick catching crawfish and
So is your dad, is he's the reason you got in, and are you a
yeah.
second generation military or
So from what I know, yeah, I'm
okay.
like cut off like from a lot of like the family ties like from like my dad's side. So I don't really know a lot of the history. Um I do know that on my mom's side, I have some great uncles and like my great grandpa and my grandpa on my mom's side were in the military. But from his side, I think it was just Irish, like poor Irish men, and then him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know if he did he ever go on any deployments? Did he ever talk about any of that stuff or
I think he had a Vietnam campaign medal.
okay.
Yeah. And he
Nice.
joined 1970, got out 1986. He did 16 years.
Oh wow.
His
Okay.
first wife made him get out before he hit his 20. From stories I heard. But
Hmm.
yeah, he got out, became an engineer and stuff, and so it basically that was like the blueprint for me, like how to finagle my way out of like southeastern Ohio.
For
You
sure.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So what was next then? You just, going into high school, did you have an idea, at that point, did you have an idea you wanted to get into military, or was it kind of just last minute?
it was the last minute, dude. I was
Yep.
pushed in the corner. It was a, you know what they say, bro? They say the military is the guy's version of like becoming a stripper. Like you're out of options, like I got arms and legs and I can work, we're gonna work them.
Yeah, for
So
sure. Yeah.
like, uh, I, you know, once everything wasn't working out, like trying to become a rapper and everything, SoundCloud artist of the year, Logan, Ohio, catch me illustrated back road on what was that freaking yeah, it was a yeah. Anyway, shameless plug. Don't look that up. It's actually great. Don't look that up.
Trying to
Actually,
plug
cut that out.
yourself.
Cut that out. Cut that out, dude. No. Uh, anyway, um, what was?
Yeah, so back to, high school, and did you know if you wanted to do that, and,
Oh yeah,
to kind of get into, a little bit of your enlistment story, and, a little bit of basic training and whatnot.
yeah. So no, like in high school, I was rebellious, dude. I did like all the like the cool guy stuff. Like I didn't play any sports. Like I try to be like edgy and cool. You know what I mean? And like I was a gamer really. Like I didn't, just kept to myself. I had a few friends, and then my sophomore year I moved schools, and then um, but yeah, like I was never like it. There was a point to where like I really lost sight of like the the military, but like I was in a predicament where it's like you can either a keep going down this road that's like leading you nowhere, or b you can try to take this risk that your father took and it worked out for him.
Right.
So and actually it's crazy. So um freaking I have an abandoned house in like southeastern Ohio still, and in the basement of it, I found old gear of his that he had, and it was like still there. It was like all weathered, and like there was moss and stuff growing over it because this house has been abandoned for like 20 years, right? But I I put it on, and it was his flick, and it fit me perfect, dude.
No
It was
shit.
a it was like I was always like when I was really young, I was always trying to get my hands on like ghillie suits and anything like military.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then yeah, like didn't even know that that was in that basement. It was just like behind a freaking uh a well pump, and I'd never looked there because there was like spiders and shit. But one, as an adult, I went there with a flashlight and I was like, oh shit. And I put it on, dude, and it fit me perfect. And it
That's
was
crazy.
like a
Yeah.
sign. And it was after like me and Michaela started talking, I brought it back and I talked to her grandma. I was like, I'm thinking about, pulling the trigger and like joining the military. Because I think and like everything spun back from my childhood to like, oh yeah, your father had this blueprint and this is what he did to succeed. So
Right.
she was like, that's a great idea. You should do it. So I called the recruiter, and the rest is history.
So for the viewers, he mentioned Michaela. That is now Gideon's wife. They've been together for
About 8 years. Eight
married.
years. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. 8 years married. We got married after 4 months of being together because my recruiter was like, hey, if you
Typical
don't
military.
marry,
That's some
yeah,
typical E4 Mafia shit.
it works though, dude. I'm telling you, improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's been my method.
Exactly.
That's
So
been-
kind of, getting into, basic. What did very brief. We don't want to give away too many stories. Just like an
Mhm.
intro, kind of podcast. But very briefly, kind of skim over, I guess, your basic and what followed from there.
So, yeah, man, shipped off the basic July 31st, 2018, dude. And I remember going to 30th AG, and I was pumped. I was
Fort
super
Benning,
pumped. Yeah, Fort Benning.
Georgia,
Yeah. And, July 31st, it was hot. The concrete was
as
cooking us.
fuck.
Like as a human, you're not used to like being told to stand on a sidewalk and to like have your arms behind your back in a formation of men who are like it's just a hot box and it's like concrete. You're being cooked alive, and you're not used to that. Everybody has long hair. Everybody looks weird, like nerds. We're not showered, and it's like 3 a.m. Like like, well, not freaking crazy, dude.
Yeah. If you
Uh,
guys been to 30th AG for
you know.
reception, you know that shit is arguably worse than the actual training itself. That shit is
Dude,
miserable, dude.
the conference room, the freaking conference room when they tell you read your battle drills,
The big
or the
gymnasium
freaking
in there, dude.
green book, bro. That's what it was.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
shit was
read the
terrible,
green
dude.
book. Read the green book. I remember like falling asleep, dude. I remember like we were putting
Dude.
we got so tired. We were putting hand sanitizer under our eyes.
To
God,
stay
like
awake.
I'm not even lying. Like
Yeah,
we were
dude.
putting hands in it. They gave us this little green. It was inspectable item. Like we had to have it on us.
Yeah, and it
And
had that like grippy feeling to it too. I remember
yeah,
that.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and freaking, you just put a little bit on your fingertip and be like, it looked like we were applying makeup, dude. But like we were so tired because it was like the Russian sleep experiment. They weren't letting us sleep, bro.
It was just
Yeah,
thing after thing after thing, and
yeah.
we didn't need. I'm gonna let you tell your story. I'll, obviously tell mine. But the 30th was terrible, dude. I just remember I never put it under my eyes. I wish I knew that. Cause I used to just huff that shit, dude. Take a big
Oh,
old
dude.
whiff of it, and I'd be like, "Woo!"
Dude, I started huffing too, but like I started like it wasn't enough for me at one point. You know what I mean? Like,
You had to do more.
like
to that.
I yeah,
You had to
I
boof
needed to
that
get
shit.
more and more. I had to. It was an escalation, bro. I was in a 12-step program actually for hand sanitizer after basic training.
30th AG to a AAA program.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man, freaking. But yeah, so the old hand sanitizer tricks. But dude, I remember like blinking, and in that span of a slow blink in that conference room, it would be a dream. Like you would, and then fucking there would be somebody like a grown man like, you better right now, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like, I'm gonna fucking break your neck, you little fucking,
Right in your
and then
ears.
slowly start like huffing and like applying, and you're drinking hand sanitizer. You don't know what's going on. Everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody is addicted to hand sanitizer, right?
Dude, everybody. There's no way you
Yeah.
wouldn't. Like,
Yeah.
and the thing was, so when we went through reception, we were there at a very, very weird time. There was a surge of boots going into training, and they didn't have the drill sergeants to kind of, push them through that training. So we had to actually, how long were we there for?
6 weeks.
It was.
Or wait, no, it was longer than that.
Yeah, it was longer than that.
It
I
was
want
like
to say it was
2
like
months.
two and a half
Yeah.
months. So we were stuck at reception
Yeah,
for
because
two and a half months.
Yeah,
And that
because
was
we
the
were at
worst
that
part.
one place for 6 weeks, but we were at the 30th AG for the normal tincture
Right.
for like 3, 4 weeks.
Because they
Dude, that was terrible, dude. Yeah.
terrible there. We went through a whole cycle before we even went to a cycle.
They told us we could do red phase before red phase.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. They treated it like that. We
Yeah.
moved barracks to some abandoned barracks that they got
In
back
Sand
together
Hill.
to keep. Yeah, that's right, at Sand
Yeah.
Hill.
Yeah.
And yeah, they stuck us in these barracks, and they just started doing a cycle before the cycle.
Yeah.
That shit was that was crazy.
Bro. And they asked us, they were like, bro, drill sergeant Donatelli, bro. I'll never forget that, man.
Bad
That dude
motherfucker too.
he had bad dude. The coolest 88 mic, bro. Like this guy was down, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was awesome. But he was like, bro, I'm gonna give you a choice. We can either do red phase now and get you out of basic training faster and with your families, or you guys can sit on your asses, get fat, and not get ready for basic training. And obviously we're like, we're ready,
Gung ho as fuck.
We're ready for red phase. Freaking, so we start, but like what it was is they were trying to do the rips with like the new drill sergeants because 30th AG is old drill sergeants and new drill sergeants in a transition period. They're getting their houses sold. They're in this transition period, right? And so they had the old drill sergeants teaching the new drill sergeants at the same time, and it was this crazy. So we
a crazy
went through.
dynamic, dude.
They were playing Sears School music for us.
Yeah,
like
boots. That shit.
Moving up and down again.
Yeah,
There's no
literally-
discharge in the war.
Psychology warfare, dude. I remember
Why
we were in these new
to think of
barracks
something different.
when we
Yeah.
went to the new barracks or whatever, and they would shut the lights off, and they had an intercom inside. And keep in mind, this bay, what, 50 guys?
50, bro.
Yeah, a
we're
lot of
packed, bro.
guys.
We were sardines, bro. There
Dude,
wasn't a spare bed.
Not at all. And the lights would
Yeah.
go off, and this psychology fucking warfare music would just play all fucking night long. So loud.
And
There's
cue
no discharge
here.
for the war. Boots. That shit, dude, it fucked with
Moving up
my
and down
head
again.
so bad. Anyways, we're kind of going down a rabbit hole here, which is cool. I love rabbit
Yeah.
holes. But kind of, pushing, into basic training. What did that look like for you? Were there any challenges, with your wife that you guys had being away for so long? Because you guys have never been, away from that long before, right?
Well, yeah, dude. So I was we've only been dated. So we were only dated for like 4 months, and then we got married, and then I left like 2 months after that. So like we weren't even together like that long, but it felt like we were together for that long because she was like that only like person there. And like I was filling her in on everything, every single thing that like happened. And just like it was crazy because I feel like it was almost better that we had so much space in the beginning of our relationship because it forced us to communicate more probably than the average people do.
Right.
When they're, like we weren't fighting over like groceries or like eating.
Mhm.
We're talking about like basic training.
Right,
and, like,
because it's
life
not
and-
just long distance, right?
Yeah.
It's long distance without talking.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. You only get
And
to
without
write.
interaction.
Yeah, exactly. All you have is you and a bunch of people around you that you don't even know. You don't even have trust with yet, right? So you're missing your
Yeah.
other half, and that's kind of mentally that's the hardest thing to get through.
Yeah. And I think that's also like one of the best things that, if you're watching this, you're thinking about joining, you know, going and being in that environment and forcing myself to like, be outside of my bubble and meet all these new people from all over the United States, all these guys who are crazy enough to join the army too. And you like just it pulls you out of yourself and you really like, another reason I wanted to, join the army is like to become a man. Growing up without a father, I didn't have like a father figure I looked up to. So I was missing that like piece of masculinity within myself. And like definitely that brotherhood that the army gave me that brotherhood that I was like missing before, dude. And a beautiful thing.
It is, dude. Yeah, and the military as a whole, it kind of feels like, unless you knew from childhood, it runs in the family. Everybody was in the military, and you know what you're doing. It's a last resort, dude. It's a last resort. Kind of getting into my side of the things, I guess. Grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Had a very average childhood, I'd say. I wouldn't say it was rough. We didn't have a lot of money, but we had what we needed and sometimes what we wanted. I think it skipped a couple generations, but we're not a big military family at all. Going into high school, typical high school experience, very athletic, wrestled all 4 years, played soccer, didn't really excel in any of those. So I knew I wasn't going to college because one, I wasn't, built for collegiate sports. Two, I just didn't have the smarts for it. Getting towards senior year, you have those conversations with your parents, right? What are you going to do? What do you want to do? And I had no idea. I was just going to bum it out probably at mom and dad's house and, work a 9 to 5 at some shitty job. And then I remember my mom actually bringing up, hey, what about the military? And I'm like, I don't know. Cool. Sounds good. Lots of running, working out. Why not? I love doing that. So talk to a recruiter. And then the rest is kind of history. Gideon doesn't remember this for some reason, but I remember meeting Gideon on, I think it was Instagram, because there was a U.S. Army page that I followed. And it was like, who's shipping out to basic soon, like a recruiting picture or whatever. And everybody's commenting. And I'm looking. I'm like, all right, I know my ship date. I'm looking. And you commented your ship date. And I remember commenting on it. And then we, talk in the DMs. So I knew you before we even left.
Dang.
And I can't believe you don't remember that. And I wish I could find the DM, but I can't fucking find it for some reason. But yeah, shipped out to basic training. We met at 30th in person. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. We met at 30th,
we met and 30th. It was like, it wasn't. We weren't like close in like the initial phase of 30th. What it was is when we went to Sand Hill and we relocated.
Right. Yep.
We were
Bunked
put on
together.
the same bunk, and then we were like, "Yo, like, you're good at making a bunk. I'm good at making a bunk. Let's help each other make our bunks. You do that side. You do the bottom half of that side. I'll do the bottom half of this side, and we'll do like a NASCAR pit stop."
It's
and you were
exactly
like,
what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. You were like, yeah. And, hell yeah, I'll do that. And then we both would do our 45 degrees. And then we were like, we'd be best friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was like, Step Brothers, bro. It was a Step Brothers scene.
Yeah.
Did we just become friends?
Yeah. Did we just become best friends? And then, dude, I freaking, bro, we could take naps in a laundry room. They never checked that shit.
Yeah.
And we started, like, we corrupted the whole
on top of the
thing.
Fucking drying machines and washing machines.
Yeah. And that was a freaking thing. That wasn't even only on, like, Sand Hill. Like, that was throughout all of basic. Like, we had the entire, like, everybody sleeping on top of the freaking dryers. And I don't know if, like, that's, like, a common experience or whatever, but, like, I know, like, we were, like, the first people to, like, sleep on top of the freaking dryers.
For our cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And freaking everybody.
We went from July to 30th, and we didn't graduate till January. Is that 7 months?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wow. Yeah, it was a long time.
Dude, that's a long time. And keep in mind, a traditional OSUT training, which for you, if you guys don't know, OSUT is your job training and basic training in one. I believe it was 21 weeks.
I think it was supposed to be 18, and then they moved it up to 22.
That's right. Yeah. So
after 2020, they moved it up to 22 when they took the shark attack out.
So now it was when we went through, it was 18 weeks though.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, it was 18 weeks is your core training from start to finish, and we were there for way longer.
Yeah, dude, we were pissed too. Yeah. And there was like no good part. There was zero upsides to like being there longer. Like no upsides. Other like maybe like being a little bit better at BT when you got to your unit, but like I don't really think.
Dude, I was already peaked on fitness though.
Yeah, we were dude, freaking yeah.
Dude, I could run like a motherfucker. When I got out and went to my unit, I could run like a motherfucker. Granted,
dude,
we were both at we were both at Fort Carson. So that
Houston?
elevation, if you guys know, that shit'll fuck with you. The elevation
I
is no
ran.
joke.
Yes. Did you?
Oh, I ran.
I ran too
Uh,
soon. You get it? Oh,
I see.
sorry. But dude, yes, elevation. Sorry, I'm a child. Elevation sickness, bro. That stuff like poisoned me, dude. Because we were so used to running. We were like freaking. We were like uh what are the like race dogs, bro? Like we were
Sled
like
dog.
freaking those greyhound like race dogs, dude.
Yeah.
And like the mafia ones used to race.
Yeah.
And we got there and I remember distinctly walking inside of the barracks with our green duffel bags on our shoulders. And
Yeah.
by the time we got to the second story, I felt like I was gonna freaking puke up blood out of my lungs, dude. I was like, what the freak is
Elevation
going on?
sucks, dude.
Yeah,
So
dude.
you will get accustomed to it. I kind of want to circle back a little bit. So, like I said, we don't want to give away a ton of stories. You know, some follow up episodes. We'll definitely get into some funny basic stories and stuff like that. But a key point here. So, met Gideon, you know, on Instagram, met him in 30th. We get to graduation and you get a copy of your hard orders, states where you're going for the next X amount of years. Get my hard orders. It says Fort Lewis, Washington. Gideon gets his, says Fort Carson, Colorado.
We were
Say our
crushed.
goodbyes. You know, see you later. That's all she wrote, you know.
Damn,
I
dude.
remember sitting on the bus, and I remember a drill sergeant or a cadre walking up and giving me new orders. I'm like, what are these? Open them up. No shit. Fort Carson, Colorado with a ticket to Colorado, a plane ticket.
Yep.
I fucking turned to Gideon. I'm like, dude, do you fucking see this?
Yep.
And we just like freak out, dude. It was
It was insane. And
we're
it's
gonna
dude, remember because it was because the JKO went down. Or was it
that's yeah,
AKO?
JK or
AKO.
one of the two,
Or
yeah.
it was JKO is the one for the classes. So
Okay, AKO.
it was AKO went down. That was for generating orders,
Right.
and all of our orders got deleted. So we ended up not only did we stay, not only did we stay before way longer for like an extra like six, we had to stay after longer because
Right.
freaking now
That's right. I
freaking
forgot about
AKO
that.
went down and we were there for an extra 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They had the drill sergeants went because they were on their leave. And so they had like regular cadre come and
Yeah.
like watch us for an
Babysit.
extra. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And so since the orders deleted, like his orders got freaking changed, and we did not know this until the drill sergeant handed him his packet and he was in the bus and we were, like sitting by each other like, oh bro, like this sucks. And
Yeah.
freaking you pull out your orders and freaking the look on your face, dude, and just like it was crazy too because our wives had met and made correspondence before this in a
Yeah.
military wives like the Facebook basic training page and the wife
Right.
support page.
Yeah. So
And
they knew each other without us knowing that they knew each other. We didn't know that our wives were talking to each other.
Yeah.
We're gonna hit a lot in this podcast.
Right.
We're both huge into our faith, into
Yeah.
Christ, and we're gonna hit a lot on that. That's something, you know, between mental health, army experience, and faith, right? Three kind of pillars of
Absolutely.
this podcast. But from start to finish, start a basic to where we're at now, it's nothing but God, right? We always talk about God's time and God's plan, and we truly believe that,
Yeah.
you know, during basic training, if you haven't gone through, if you're thinking about going through, if you have gone through, you know you're going to have that one or two guys, that group of guys that kind of, you know, not only maybe held you together, as cringy as that sounds, but push you forward through basic, because you didn't have anybody else, right? That's kind of what Gideon was to me, you know, with a couple other guys, but he's the only one I really talk to for basic anymore. You know, I've known you for so long now. We talk every single day.
Yeah, dude. Like you're my number one, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But kind of, you know, fast forwarding past basic, we both get out to Colorado together. I remember when we landed late, so we had to find a hotel. Do you remember that hotel? Was that you or was that someone else?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, I do because they had to freaking loop back around, bro.
Yeah.
And it was the whole layover and they shuttled us to a hotel and it had a humongous bathtub in it. Do you remember that?
I do.
Like we all did we all have our so it was four of us and we had two different rooms?
Yeah, I don't remember who was with us?
Barbarous is one of them.
X. We'll have to get
Yeah.
him on the pod, bro.
Oh yeah, dude, X
That
got
would
to get
be
on here.
X.
Dude,
Yeah.
we also have to get freaking Vidge McKay.
Bitch. Yeah.
Dude, the freaking
We'll get some
like
boys on here. We're gonna cook it
yeah,
up.
yeah. Just wait.
But
wait.
yeah, so we get to Fort Carson. We end up going through, the traditional reception there, and then that's kind of where our story fell off a little bit. We kind of went to different units. You were attached to an infantry unit 168, right? Or 166?
1-8.
Or 1-8, sorry, which is an
Yeah.
infantry unit, right?
Yeah.
And then I was at a cavalry squadron, so 410 Cav. I guess we should have said that we were both cavalry scouts, 19 Delta, so
Oh yeah.
kind of a very light version of reconnaissance is what I describe it as. Jack of all trades, if you will, I suppose. I know we're gonna get some hate for that in the comments, right?
Eyes and ears of the commander, all the better infantrymen, the elite of the infantry, all
Right.
going to place.
But yeah, and that's kind of
You get lit on fire.
that's kind of the start of the next 3 years for me, and what's 6, 7 for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry. I'm a child, bro. I'm literally. I'm a 27-year-old freaking 5-year-old dude. I don't know what's going on.
Hilarious, but yeah, that's
Good
kind of the
time.
start, man. I
Yeah.
did a deployment. He did 2 deployments. We'll get a lot into those. And I'm just looking forward to this, man. I'm looking forward to getting into some of these stories, having some guests on, and saving
came
these
off
for the
the stand.
future too. I just want to have a lot of good, fun conversations.
Yeah. And I'm gonna probably get a new mic. I don't know. I kind of like this. It feels a little bit more personal, maybe.
What, holding the mic?
Yeah, I didn't mean to take it off. It
You
came
took
off
it-
the thing. It came off the thing. Yeah, dude, it came off. I'm just playing it out, dude. I don't know. It's been like this for not. It just happened. But
Oh, that's funny. Anything you want to hit? Anything else you want to hit on this episode?
Yeah, I
or-
feel like one thing I like, 2 things I didn't hit on. Like it's because you were right. Like there's 3 pillars, like main pillars, and like to this thing that we're doing, and it's like military, like it's our faith, and it's mental health, and all of it ties in together, and we I know that there is a lot of times like where I wish I would have turned to like Jesus and stuff, and like there's a lot of times like I wish I would have had that connection to strengthen my armor when I was in.
sure, yeah.
So hopefully like what we can do is just use our experience and like find other people's experiences to help these soldiers and strengthen these soldiers now. That's like the ultimate goal, and also introduce them to the living God, Jesus
sure.
Christ.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Yeah, well, I think that's it. Unless there's anything else you want to hit on. Like I said, I don't want to give away too much to you guys. If you guys, you are going through basic or you're thinking about it, definitely feel free to shoot us a follow. Like I said, we're just the average Joes. We're not, we did some cool shit here and there. We weren't special forces, anything like that. Average Joes, man. That's what this podcast is about. Telling the Joes how to, that perspective, and just fucking, discussing the culture around that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but besides that, boys, we will catch you guys on the next one. The plan is to upload once a week, maybe twice a week, depending on how busy our schedules are in the civilian world. But upload it once a week. And like I said, feel free to drop us a follow, share with your buddies. And if you guys are interested in getting on the pod, let us know and we'll work something out with you. So,
yeah. And if you have pros and cons, just drop them in the comments as well. Yeah.
Pros and cons of what?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not pros and cons. Like, I don't know.
Like
Yep. We'll be right back.
All right, boys. Peace out, boys.